Our next guest is a major innovator in the world of artificial intelligence, and he is sounding the alarm about the technology in his new book. Mustafa Suleyman is the CEO and co-founder of Inflection AI. Previously, he co-founded one of the world's leading AI companies, DeepMind, which was bought by Google. In his new book, The Coming Wave, Suleyman warns we are not ready for what comes next in artificial intelligence. Good morning. We can't get enough of this topic.
Yeah.
I just want to start off by just asking you, what does this look like when you call this the cusp of releasing an intelligence revolution? And most importantly, what are the biggest concerns? Because people talk around this issue, but what specifically are you saying is a threat?
Well, think about it at this level. Everything in our line of sight today has been created by intelligence, our ability to invent and create and predict. So everything that's of value in the world today has been a product of us being smart and capable of humans. And the attraction of being able to distill that into an algorithm, turn that into something that is cheap and reproducible, is that it becomes a commodity, something that everybody can get access to. Everybody can have an intelligent aid, a creator, an assistant, a research aid to make them smarter.
How is this bad? Why should we be concerned? We don't have a lot of time, and your book is very long here. It's over, almost 300 pages. What should we be most worried about? Because this idea of 5 or 10 years from now, the world will not look the way that it does now. A lot of talking around the issue and understanding that, yes, computers, automation is here.
Technology always makes us more efficient, right? So in agriculture today, it only takes 98% of the labor that it used to back in the day to get the same amount of work done, right? And that's an incredible transformation. So intelligence is exactly the same trajectory. We're going to be on the same course. Things are going to get cheaper and easier to use. And some people are worried that that means that there may be fewer jobs to go around. And that's certainly a threat. So the core question for all of us is to think about, how do we handle redistribution? What does taxation look like? How do we bring people with us as we move through these waves of new technology that are rising?
You also mentioned, though, that because the cat's out of the bag and there's a commodification of AI, that containing this technology is almost now impossible. So what do we all need to do to come up with a set of guidelines or rules, at least? Because I know a lot of AI founders have tried to come up with a kind of a moral baseline, right, to use this tech. What do we need to do to stay safe?
Well, the first thing is that it needs to be accountable to us. So if you use a piece of technology, you should have confidence that it operates within a constrained set of boundaries. If you give it an instruction, it should consistently and robustly behave within those constraints. At the moment, a lot of these models suffer what's called hallucinations. They make things up, they get things wrong, right? So they're still not reliable. We're still not ready to use them in production settings, but they are going to get better and better over time. And the way that we hold those accountable is that we make sure that every time they take an action, we can measure that, we can record it, it confidently produces the same result. Just like in airline safety. Aircraft are one of the most safest forms of transport in the world today, right? That's an incredible achievement to get 40,000 feet in the sky and ride in an airplane and feel confident that every single time it's going to produce the same safe flight.
Why do you think the AI hallucinates? Where do you see this?
Well, it's trying to be helpful. So it comes from a good place, right? It's trying to give you a good answer. We train it to predict what is most likely.
It's a people pleaser?
It's a pleaser. It totally is a pleaser. It's doing its very best to give an answer. So it's obviously not trying to manipulate or make things up. I think the real, fear that I have is that over the next decade, because this is going to get cheaper and easier to use, millions and millions of people are going to get access to it. So in a way, you can think about it as like power getting condensed into these smaller and smaller units that can be moved around.
I know, but I have heard from healthcare workers and even some teachers, researchers who have said there's some positives to this. It actually can help them do a better job in their field. Are there some positives out there that we should be turning to or maybe focused on instead of talking all of this negativity all the time about it?
I totally agree. I mean, there are a huge number of positives. I mean, imagine having the smartest educator in your pocket 24/7 in a completely personalized way, adapting a curriculum to your style, in your tone, based on your interests. That's going to give everybody a turbo boost when it comes to learning and improvement. Likewise with healthcare, everybody in the future is going to get access to the very best doctor and nurse practitioner and care worker who's going to give support, advice, reminders on your medications. That's going to be truly transformative. And I think it's one of the main reasons why we try and build these systems.
How is the emotional connection that some of us now are starting to feel with these AI devices playing a part in this? Because as Jerika was mentioning off camera earlier, kids now are growing up feeling like they know Alexa and they know these devices when we now know there's a difference and it's an automated system. How does that factor into what you're seeing?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and we have to be very careful with the way that these systems are released to young children. But I think for adults, the kind of care and emotional support and empathy that these models can give is huge. Having somebody who can listen, ask kind and clarifying questions, be patient and non-judgmental, I mean, that's gold dust. You know, for many families who've had a stable and calm upbringing, that kind of social privilege has been the turbo boost that doesn't often get talked about, right? Education is important, of course, but actually having kind and supportive people around you is exactly what you need to succeed. And now these AIs are going to be able to provide that.
If we could briefly, your company raised $1.5 billion this summer for the personal AI PI, which Pi, excuse me, I downloaded it, and it is like a personal assistant. You can ask it a lot of questions. Where are you going from here, and what do you say about critics who say you and others are using this moment to garner money, to raise money, to make yourself wealthier?
So we've founded the company as a public benefit corporation, which means that we're a very unique structure. We have a legal obligation to both return profit to shareholders, but also to consider the consequences for the rest of the world in our decision-making process. So of course, this is going to be an amazing breakthrough in terms of the commercial side of things, but it's also going to change the world for the better.
I just want an AI to predict the lottery numbers. Like a lot of people have.
Yeah, can you work on that?
Get an algorithm
I'll
for
do
that.
my best.
The lottery will be obsolete when that happens. Mustafa Suleyman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
The
very
Coming
much.
Wave is on sale tomorrow.
It's a wonderful, wonderful book and a great topic. Thanks for being here.